Hello and welcome to this episode of the Online Therapy Podcast. You're with Renee McDonald. I'm your host, and I have here today Annette Eriksen. And I would love to introduce you to Annette for so many reasons. However, I think I want to make sure that she does that for herself. And so welcome, Annette, and thanks for joining us.
Hey, Renee, and thank you for having me on this podcast. It's very kind of you. So yeah, my name is Annette Eriksen. I'm born and raised in Denmark. I currently live in Brisbane, and I work as an online counselor, therapist, online trainer for Renee as well, career coach and all that. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. And I guess I've got you on for a couple of different reasons. I'm wanting to talk about, and wanted to declare that obviously you work for me, and thank you for sharing that. But I think you are kind of a great guest for us to have in the Online Therapy Podcast, whilst there's a lot of things going on around the world, and I even want to talk to you about that too, but also just how online therapy, you can still work across the world. So I wanted to kind of chat to you about that. How do you find working internationally from home?
I love it. I love the cultural diversity and different cultures, different countries, different habits, and you get to learn a lot about other ways of living and being. And with me, I'm also educated and worked in 5 different countries, mainly in Europe, then India, and now Australia. So for me, it's all about diverse and growing as a person, as a therapist, and I really enjoy that. There's a lot of things to keep on top of, but that's just part of the practice that become the norm. So it's like any job, you have to keep on top of the legal stuff and what have you. But I'm blessed in that way that I got help. So yeah, so that's good.
Excellent. Okay, so just tell us a little bit more about your business, your private practice, and just how you work, because this is also a chance for people to hear about what you do, but also how online therapists work.
Yeah. So I have different hats on. So one is my online therapy, and then there's my phone and text-based therapy as well. And I have a website where I have free and some affordable career guidance courses as well. And then I'm an online trainer. So I have different hats on. And in the online space with the therapy, I'm happy that I got the proper education and the proper training in order to make sure that the clients are safe and I'm safe as a practitioner as well. And I think the time zone issue when you work internationally is something that I had to get used to a lot. And then whether it's summer or winter time, where you are in the world, and being flexible with the clients, messing up the time as well is something that I had to get used to. But now the clients come to me that are more in alignment with what kind of clients I want to work with.
Yeah.
I have a lot of clients who have stress management and anxiety and depression in regards to their career. And that's something that I really enjoy, being of service to those kind of clients, because we want to make sure that people don't burn out.
Yes.
Especially in the way the world is going these days. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So on that note, I'm just kind of wondering how you're working and how you're looking after yourself and your clients, given the current state of the world with this coronavirus.
Nature is a healing resource for me on a daily basis, and table tennis. So yesterday, no, not yesterday, the day before, I actually went out on a bicycle ride, a push bike, you call it here in Australia.
Yeah.
And we played tennis table. I was lucky enough to have a spa experience as well next to my clients, and then I do a lot of journaling as well. A gratitude jar is something that is being practiced a lot. Small notes in every day, end of the week, what has been great about this week. Constant reminding myself, okay, there's actually quite good stuff going on in the world at the moment as well. And then not reading the news, because that's quite depressing, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I read headlines, and if I see something that okay, this is serious, I need to look into that. But I have a designated time, and I make sure to take my critical hat on, so I just don't have it all thrown into me and think, oh shit, we're all gonna die now. Because that's not the truth. You know, there's so many people from this virus who have survived. Last time I checked, it was more than 80,000 people who have recovered. So reminding myself of all the good days in the world and all the positive days. Walking the neighbor's dog the other day was fantastic as well. And I think the neighbor was very grateful for that. And of course, I have my supervisors as well. That is needed and a guarantee. I have 3 different supervisors at the moment. But that's because I offer 3 different kind of services, and I want to make sure I'm covered. And especially when you work online, you know, next to having the proper training, you also need to make sure you have the proper supervisor. So a supervisor who's used to working online, and perhaps someone who has even done the same or similar training to you as well. So that's important for me.
Yeah, so talking about the same or similar training, and obviously, you know, we can talk about the training that you did with me, but I think that's not necessarily what this conversation is about. I'm interested in just what you think the proper training needs to be for people who work in the online therapy environment, from your perspective.
Well, something as simple as having an emergency contact person for the client is something that everybody needs to remember to have and get. And that's very important in case if you have a suicidal client, for example, and they hang up on you, or they disconnect you from the Zoom conversation you're having with them. So making sure that your contract and all your protocols are in order, that you know who to reach out to in case something is up, and also who you can reach out to, so you don't go to bed thinking too much. And also learn and know how to hold the space. So as you know, with me, I'm a highly sensitive person, and one of the joys I thought about working online is I would be protected by the computer. So I wouldn't get the energy in, but it doesn't work that way. I still get the energy in. So getting the training and the knowledge about how to hold the space, and also how to focus and show the empathy that the client need and wants, and making sure that you're there for them, that you listen to them.
That's great. I'm really glad that you brought all that in, because obviously that's something that I firmly believe in, and that it seems to be just at the moment people aren't listening to each other. So I'm interested in what your tips might be from your perspective around even just in general community, how we can be more connected to each other even despite no physical contact.
Sharing good news stories, sharing anything good you have experienced throughout the day. I actually decided this morning with my morning meditation that from today, every day, I have to put something on Facebook that was good about each day. And maybe also on other social media, just to reach more people. And also to listen to ourselves, to listen to our heart, to listen to our gut, and be true to ourselves as well. And recognize when there's something we want to do, but we know that we don't know, then we need to figure out, okay, how do we get to know what it is we don't know? And that was, I know I'm biased because I do work for you as one of your online trainers, but that was what I enjoyed about your training, that it's practical, but it's all based on research. So in that sense, it speaks to the academic in me, but it also speaks to the creative and practical side of me that is very much who I am as a therapist as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Thank you for that. So I guess,
yeah.
you know, just a few things. Tell me more about your business. Well, we've got a little bit of time to talk. I'd love to hear what kind of clients you work with, um, just what your, you know, business is, how people, you know, may be able to access your services.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. So I have different websites and different platforms, but my main website is AnnetteEriksen.com, and that's Eriksen spelled the Danish way, so KSEN at the end. That's where people mainly can find me as well. And then of course on Facebook. I'm also, so my limited company is called My Free Range Career. And that's a newly thing created just before Christmas, and that's quite exciting to take that off to this year. And that will be more about my career coaching and my career guidance courses. But it's about my free range career and how I managed to work and live in different countries while maintaining a career with my partner who happens to have an international career, and I still want to work.
Yeah.
So my company is much about how do I work with traveling around as well. So one thing is my career coaching and my courses in that sense.
Mm.
The clients I work with, as I mentioned earlier, is stress management, anxiety, depression.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a fair bit of customers as well, sadly, who come to me because they're being bullied at work.
Mm.
And that's where we talk about the experience and how to manage that and what to do and what not to do.
Mm.
It's sad to see how much bullying that is actually taking place in the workplace.
Mm. Mm.
So that's a big area of my practice as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Tell me more about your career guidance, because I think in these times where things are uncertain, I think, you know, I just have this feeling that more and more people are going to maybe need some guidance or transition coaching around their
Yeah.
career. So tell me a bit about what you do with career guidance and coaching.
Well, to begin with, before I became an online therapist, I was a career guidance counselor, and that's my first postgrad and master is in career guidance from England.
Mm.
And then I added coaching diploma on top of that, so I like to study. But I have a lot of clients who is in that transitional phase of wanting to change careers, or have been an expat mom and trying to get into the workforce now that the kids are a bit more older. Or an army wife who's trying to find work from home as well because she want to work and the kids is too old as well. So those are the clients that in that transitional phase of staying at home, then wanting to have a career, but still want to have a career working from home. So focusing on how they can get that, and also so it suits their needs.
Yep.
Quite a lot of women today, they want to be self-employed, which is very empowering and very good to see as well. And they have all these amazing ideas. So that's where coaching them and making them believe that they can actually do this is fantastic. It's quite a service to be allowed to be part of that. So that's interesting as well. And then I have my courses online on my website as well. I use Teachable. So I have a career guidance school on Teachable as well. And there is a few free courses as well, but about well-being and finding inner peace. Because for me, in order to make an educated and serious career choice, you kind of have to have peace within you. And you need to know your reason why you're doing things. So I have a few very simple courses about that as well. So yeah. And then I have text-based therapy as well, which is quite exciting. That's a new thing. And I really enjoy that as well. So it's interesting how you can see that you can actually go very far with text-based as well. So
yes, you can. I've found particularly I've had a number of Indian clients with text-based therapy. So it just seems that there's certain you know, certain cultures and certain people might take it up more than others. Like young people have liked text-based therapy with me too. So what kind of clients do you work with text-based therapy?
It's actually mainly men. Men who are looking for a career change, or men who are going through a transitional phase with getting a divorce, and having to rediscover themselves, and finding themselves in a way where they can still be there for their family and their children, but also rediscover who they are, because they may have been this unit for 20 years and then all of a sudden they're someone else. And the men seem to be enjoying that. So at least that's like 95% of the clients is men. So so yeah.
Brilliant.
But it's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, guess, you know, to just talk to some of the stuff that is going on around the world. I know that it's impacted on you personally, and you haven't really been able to do the travel that you've been wanting. How have you been working around that? And if someone is in a similar position to you, where they travel for work or might live in different countries, what would you be suggesting to them, given, you know, the current situation in the world?
Well, if you have a balcony or if you have a garden, make sure to go outside and breathe some fresh air. And you know, be grateful for where you're actually at the moment. Not many people have the choices some of us have. So showing more gratitude, focusing on your own self-care, and whether that's having a bath or a long shower, even though we have to save on water too. It's, you know, taking care of yourself and enjoy the moment. I'm not a Christian, but this shall pass too. Is something I strongly believe in. I know everybody is saying that the situation is going to get worse and it might stay longer than we would want, but at the same time, you know, it came quickly, it acts quickly, so maybe it will disappear quickly. We don't know. But you know, we can control how we react. We have choices. So making healthy choices and taking a step back. You know, quite often we are so busy in our lives and we just jump from one thing to the other to the next. We never get to sit down and breathe. And I was listening to this podcast the other day where someone was saying, oh, there's probably going to be a lot of divorces coming up because everybody has to stay home with their children. And they have to get to know their children. And for the parents, I would say, my God, what a blessed situation to be in, to actually be allowed to spend some time with your family and just enjoy that, and perhaps not focus too much on the iPad, but focus on playing cards or going for a walk with the dog, or doing something together as a family. You know, it's quite rare these days that we get to spend time together because we're all busy. So slowing down before we get to speed up again, you know. Because that time will come for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that saying. I heard that from a number of different people myself too. Yeah, to slow down before we speed up. It's kind of like the old saying of more haste, less speed. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but it's kind of like we, you know, putting one foot in front of the other, knowing what we still need to do, knowing we still need to do it. But, you know, from what I can gather, you work very much from a place of gratitude and like just really sitting in with what's really going on just in the here and now. That can be really difficult for some people if they're not into mindfulness or sitting in the present moment. Just how would you work with someone if they weren't able to do that, or how could we work with that as humanity, do you think?
Well, I actually had a client yesterday who told me, I am not suited for meditation. I cannot just sit down and do nothing. I have a bunch of energy. You know, I'm a Duracell bunny, she even said. And And then I said, okay, well then your meditation might be your exercise.
Yeah.
And given the fact that we may not be able to go out for a while, well then start jogging on the spot in your living room. Do push-up. So exercise is always something we can do at home if we are full of energy.
Yeah.
I was just suggesting to another coach an hour ago that she was asking, so what am I supposed to do in this time now? And I said, well, maybe you need to write a book.
Yeah.
You know, maybe now is the time to do something that we always thought about doing, but we never did.
Yeah.
Get to study something online that we always thought we wanted to do, but we never had time to do. So we may have 10 books in the bookshelf we bought 2 years ago. We haven't opened yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting movies and films and documentary on the TV as well. So yeah. So there's a lot of things we can do if we don't like meditating.
Yeah. Thanks for that. So I guess if you were going to give a few tips to people just in general about these times and how you've found it works for either your clients or yourself, what would your few tips be for people at these times?
Having a gratitude jar, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, on the kitchen where everybody put in a small note, what is great about today, is something we can all do. And it sounds silly and a bit childish perhaps, but it works. You know, it can bring you together at the end of the weekend and you can look at, see, okay, what is done, what is not done. If you happen to be a hermit introvert who likes to be in your own company, you can do the exact same thing. So looking after yourself in a way that is true to you and who you are and in alignment with who you are, it is something we have to practice more these days. We cannot afford to have stress at the moment, because if we have stress and if we focus too much on the negative, not good things is going to happen. So focusing on all the good, and that can even be having a cup of tea in the morning and just sitting and being, or a cup of coffee if that's it. You know, slowing down and just being is very difficult for a lot of people, but why not try it out? You know, what's the worst that can happen? And focus on being healthy in your body, mind, and soul as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a number of things there. In a nutshell, if you could talk to your ideal client, what would you be saying to them right now with these times?
I would say make sure to listen to your body. Make sure that you are listening to what your body is telling you, and make sure that you are there. And just quiet down, you know, just or put on some loud music if you don't like quiet time. Do something that makes you happy, that doesn't require too much time and too much effort. Something that you can do quickly but will have a great impact on your well-being. Yeah,
great. Excellent. And then finally, how can people find you?
So AnnetteEriksen.com is one of them. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook as well, Pinterest and Instagram. Annette Eriksen is all where I am. So if they look up Annette Eriksen, they can find me as well. And they can find me on your groups as well. So so that's good as well.
And that's for other therapists in particular, but I guess, you know, for clients, because clients might find this as well.
Yeah, for clients, I also have my career guidance school on Teachable. So when you post it, I can put the link below if you're okay with that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, and my website, so it gets spelled correctly as well.
Yes, great stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will be putting, because this one's going to go out to YouTube on the AOTT YouTube channel. But in addition to that, this will be going out on Spotify. So hi to all those people listening on Spotify and Apple and Google. So you can find the Online Therapy podcast on all the usual podcast channels. Yeah, and Annette Eriksen is ANNETTE, Eriksen, ERIKSEN.com. So thanks for that, Annette, and thanks for coming on. And yeah, so Annette's also mentioned her career guidance school is career-guidance-school.teachable.com. But I will be putting that into the YouTube links here with that. When people are listening on any of the podcast channels, just get in touch with me. If you need to get in touch with Annette, contact.aott@gmail.com via email or www.aott.com.au. Thanks, Annette, for your time today. It's been brilliant talking to you.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate that. So awesome. Good times ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now.
Bye.